joining us, you miss his agreement, especially you miss what Dr. Tony Edu said about the elections. And he essentially agrees with what Dr. Tony Edu says. So you're saying, because sometimes people say you need a sophisticated system, you need to put together some app and that collates results for you, and that the simple system will not work. You're saying that is not necessary. That all you need is trust, competence.
You need trust, competency, and a very well-trained personnel on the ground. Because look, we talk about apps, we talk about sophisticated machinery.
Yeah.
Who input those numbers? It's the personnel.
Yeah.
The machines and the apps don't go on the field and pick numbers themselves.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter even if you have that and the personnel are not good enough. They'll input the wrong figures. And computer, what you put in is what you get.
I see.
It's as simple as that.
So in both cases, you need people who know what they are doing.
Absolutely. Spot on.
And trust is important for you.
Very, very important. Because if they are not trustworthy, they can be bought. And we know officers on the ground who has been bought. Who have been bought. They've been compromised with PINA. It's happened in the past. So you know you need to have people who are faithful to the party, people who are faithful to Ghana, people who say to themselves that, look, it doesn't matter what will be given to me. I'm here to serve a mother country. I'm here to ensure that the right thing is done. And that is what we need to look for. And for you to get these people, they have to be core NDC people as well. It's very, very important. Because in the past, we've had officers collating on our behalf who are not core NDC. But I'm happy this time, to me, it has changed. You could see how the mother party has gone after the core NDC, whether you're based in the diaspora, whether you here back home, to train them, to get them out there. With all of us added our voice to bank on that, or to shout on that bank wagon and say, look, if you're a teacher, if you're a nurse, take a day off and help this party. Sacrifice one day for this party. On that 7th December is a Saturday as well. Sacrifice that day. Go to train yourself, go to a polling station and help this party. Let's save this country together. The NDC cannot do it by itself. So if you really have Ghana at heart, all of us have to come together. Those of us in diaspora, we'll be flying down as well. We're going to police polling stations ourselves. And that day, there is something that I said at Accra FM last night or yesterday. If you go and vote, don't go home. Normally we say, oh, they advise you, vote, go home, and you will hear the result. This time around, no, let's change the dynamics. On the day of voting, after voting, don't go home. All of us will stand there until it's counted, until then it's pronounced, until John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, is pronounced the winner. Then we will go home. Nobody is leaving.
Until John Mahama is pronounced the winner.
That's correct.
Which means you're not making room for any other outcome?
No. Because all the good polls suggest we are going to have a win.
All the good polls?
All the good polls. Any polls that suggest otherwise is people sitting in their bedroom and inputting figures. Seriously, I don't want to mention people, but there are few like that. But the good polls, like global info analytics.
Yeah.
If you look at global info analytics, all the polls that they've done, and look, I followed their polls for the past year or two. How this polling is done is amazing, and look, kudos to them. They've done a very, 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 very good polls, and they're still doing it. And to me, if we go according to that polls, and there are other international polls as well, it shows that the NDC would definitely win with a decent margin. There won't be second round. We just have to ensure we police these votes. We ensure we are on the ground. We ensure that the areas that we think they will try and take advantage, we have our men on the floor, that we are not suppressed. That is the very important thing. That is why it's a call on duty for every single Ghanaian to make sure on the day they will keep their eyes open just within that 24 hours, one day. Let's do it for Mother Ghana. Because, Sana, if the NDC doesn't win this election and change the fate and the path that Ghana is traveling, I'm worried for this country.
Worried for the country?
Very worried for the country.
Why?
We are chipping away this country gradually, and we don't realize it. These people have been in government for 8 years, and within 8 years, they have issued unprecedented licenses of mining. Whether it's prospecting, which prospecting even tend to the actual mining itself. They've damaged our water bodies. They've damaged our forest reserves. I saw a video, I was talking about it last night, of a Chinese man who has the gut. Whilst he's being challenged by some of these indigenous Ghanaians, this man have degraded so many of our land, and he's rather challenging a Ghanaian. He's telling the Ghanaian off, ready to pick up a fight with a Ghanaian who is challenging him of the bad habit. This party have slept on the job. It's either they've intentionally done it, or they are so beneficial of everything that is happened. And we know they are. They've benefited from this. And we cannot sit back and watch this happen again. Some of us, that is why we leave our businesses, we leave our families, we come here and we are speaking truth to power. And we will keep doing it. We will keep doing it. We will not be quiet. We will not stop. Because there is only one Ghana. And this is all we have. It doesn't matter where we live. One day we will come back here. This is our motherland. There's no place like home, Senna.
So for you, the Galamsey issue alone is enough.
Take the Galamsey out of it. That is environmental degradation to the motherland, water bodies, what have you. Will come to a point, maybe we might even end importing water and what have you. That is a serious issue. Take that out of it. Look at the economy. Look at the economy that was left for this country. And look at the economy as we speak. Shut down from the capital market. And touching on the economy that was left. What the NDC actually left for this country. There are few of the things we left them extra 2 oil wells. I spoke about that last time. 10 and Sankofa in addition to boost production. Or the buffers that was given to them. They've depleted everything. They like hyenas, this particular MPP government. They do not just eat and even leave the place, but rather they've damaged the place as well. Collateralize some of these funds, sinking fund and what have you. So all the buffers are gone. They've run down this country on the ground. Look at this, the city, the currency is of junk status. You walk through Accra, we will make Accra the cleanest city. I was driving through Accra this morning and I asked myself, what is this? I went through more than 10 traffic lights. None of them are working. Some of them, the lights are even broken. Street lights, Accra is in dark. This capital is plunged into darkness in the night. You get patches of street lights. I drove through East Legon last night, coming down to Ridge, where I lodge, and it's unbelievable. I was ashamed at some point because you've brought visitors who are not Ghanaians, and they ask questions. Sometimes it's difficult to even explain to them. That is how bad. That is how backwards we've gone for the past 8 years.
You can't provide explanation to the questions they're asking?
Some of them you can't explain. All you could say in the simplest form is we need a change of government because it wasn't like this. This country was doing great. The foundations was set for it to flourish. We were lied to. And last time when I was here, I did mention that Ghanaians have been given a bad check. We got given a check and we were told that, look, this is the amount on that check. Take it to Bank of Ghana. And when we went there, they told us there are no money in the votes. And that is why Ghanaians will refuse coming 7th December that there are no monies in the votes of the Bank of Ghana. That bad check will translate to the anger of the revolution. And it's not a revolution that we are going to pick up cutlasses and or machetes and you name it. No. That is not the kind of revolution we're talking about. But revolution by going through the ballot box and using the power of the thumb. This NPP is bad news for Ghana. It's bad news. They've taken Ghana 30 years back, and they need to be punished severely. Any Ghanaian who's listening to me this morning, if you don't go out there and vote out this political party, NPP, then I don't know what your thinking is. They need to be punished. They need to be extinct.
But if you ask the NPP, they will also tell you that if we're doing so well at the time, in 2016 when they won power, the Ghanaian people would not have voted against you. You would not have lost the elections. But the Ghanaian people chose them, meaning that you were not doing so well. Now, when you claim that you handed over a better country to them, you're actually just speaking the truth. How do you respond to that?
That is an argument that I know they've made. I'm going to touch on the few of the things that we left to them. It's right in our manifesto. If you look in our manifesto before we went into policies, we have a page that we entitled The Ghana We Left for Them. And the Ghana we left for them, sustainable debt with a debt to GDP ratio of 55.6%. Anybody listening should take note. Stable credit rating of B. Low budget deficit of 6.1%. Declining inflation rate that was approximately 15%. A stable currency with a depreciation rate of 9%. An industry with manufacturing subsector that grew by 4.3% and 7.9% respectively. A construction sector that was growing 8.4%. A relatively low single-digit unemployment rate of 8.4%. The IMF and the Economic Intelligence Unit projecting economic growth over 8 to 7%. This is where the growth you mentioned comes in. Before we will hand the country over, based on the work that the NDC government and John Dramani Mahama had done, that prediction has already been done by the international bodies, the IMF. So the growth that they're talking about, the last time I came here, I made an analogy that growth was an NDC growth that they did enjoy. And I made a simple analogy of how economic is. It's like going to the farm and then clearing up your wheat and putting something on the ground. If you put something on the ground, it takes time for it to grow. After I've done the planting, if I'm asked, or the landlord asks me to, or the landowner asks me to leave the land, and then you come and harvest my growth, is that your growth? That's not your hard work. But rather you are enjoying the hard work of somebody else. Now you've harvested that, enjoy that. Do your planting. Let's see your growth. That is where they don't have any to show us. It's simple as that. It's simple as that. Then I did mention of the oil wells, the 10 and Sankofa fields. That was extra oil wells that was given for them. You see, if you go on, like, there are so many things. Let's look at the world class and only the hospital in West Africa, the University of Ghana Medical Center was left ultramodern 420 bed Greater Accra Regional Hospital reach, state-of-the-art institution, Bank of Ghana Hospital, Tema Port expansion, ultramodern Terminal 3, Kotoka, Ho Airport, and the likes. University of Health and Allied Science, You name it. Sana, if somebody leaves you all this and set all these buffers, and today you come back to come and tell us there is nothing. Let me look at some of the buffers and mention few of them. Let's mention few of the buffers as well. The few of the buffers that we also left for them. Money that was left in this pot. A strategic institutional and cash buffers such as the Ghanaian Infrastructure Investment Fund with an account of 270 million US dollars in it. The sinking fund had accrued 500 million dollars USD in it. Stabilization fund accrued 300 million. All these buffers were left. So where did this country go wrong? This is our terminal report before we left the scene. The question is, based on the question that you asked, that if we were doing that right, we have been able to tell them our terminal report.
Okay.
Let them give us their terminal report.
How well they've done.
How well they've done. And let's compare and contrast. It's as simple as that.
Let me read this to you. This is President Akufo-Addo speaking recently. It says, when you mention the name of J.J. Rawlings, district assemblies come to mind. When you mention the name of John Ajekum Kufuor, the National Health Insurance Scheme comes to mind. When you mention the name of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Free Senior High School comes to mind. But when you mention John Mahama, all we hear is doom so. We want someone who is going to take our country forward, not backward.
Isn't that pathetic? President Akufo-Addo is very good at every now and then jabbing, and he did this. He did this since 2014, 2015. So Ghanaians should get used to this. Is he not the person who told the Dokrunwe one city council so I come there? Is he not the same person who called Professor Mills Professor Doolittle? Compare Professor Mills' record and his record now. Is he not the same person who called John Dramani Mahama His Excellency? The incompetent, labeled him incompetent. Prosperity is judging them as we speak. And what surprises me is they still have the guts to still speak. To me, if I've performed such abysmally, I would rather curl up and I will apologize to Ghanaians and leave the scene. But no, not this NPP administration. And the arrogance that they are showing to Ghanaians, because what they are, or what he is talking about, and many of them are speaking about, Ghanaians can see different things. So what are you talking about? If all the people can see red and you are telling us it's white, what are you talking about? The free SHS, he's necked it. He knows it's not his idea. It's necked. He's stolen it. A British would say, a street British would say he's necked it. It's an idea stolen. The NDC started progressively free SHS. Even look at the health service, the free health. NDC started it. The NDC started it. When President Kufuor even picked it up and started, also took it to regional, we made it national. And that is what government is about. We build on things. We've laid fiber optic right on the eastern corridor from the south to the north. We've digitalized this country. Who actually digitalized our VAT and not income tax? We did it. We automated it. Under former finance minister, Uncle Seth Takbe. We automated that. They're just not giving credit to us, but they know. They know. There is a saying in our local language that I love. They say if somebody doesn't like you, when they try to imitate your dance, it doesn't matter how good they can dance that dance, they will still kind of twist their spin or spin their backside. They're not gonna dance it rightly. And that is exactly what he's doing. They are bad news for this country. And all of us can see through them. They've run out of the road. Totally run out of road.
And you're saying that if you were President Akufo-Addo, you wouldn't even have the guts to open your mouth.
No, you have to curl up. In the serious jurisdiction, any other leader will come out and apologize to the nation and say, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. My policies didn't work. We've abused certain things, and apologize and leave the scene. It's only here in Ghana that you will find this, that people will still come out boldly and speak as if they've painted the entire Accra and paved the streets with gold for Ghanaians. Look at Ghanaians are suffering. It's their own words. Teachers are suffering. That are suffering. Go and ask the teachers today. Go and ask the nurses today. Go and ask the entire Ghanaians, which they label they are suffering. They are suffering. These people will tell you the suffering then was even better. Now you've taken them a severe pain. Severe. We shouldn't do this. We should not do this to this country. What has Ghanaians done wrong? This NPP has to go. And the only way to kick them out is Ghanaians to come out in their numbers. If you were a Ghanaian hearing me this morning, pick up a phone, call your family, speak to colleagues, friends. Numbers, just one day, as I said earlier. Let's sacrifice. Because if people are not punished, or political parties are not punished based on their abysmal performances, and rather we go and vote for them, it's a reward to tell them that, look, it doesn't matter how bad you perform, we will still keep you in power. For that reason, they will not change their behavior. They will do it over and over and over again. If the NDC comes, I'm a proper NDC. If the NDC comes and the NDC does not perform, do the same thing to the NDC. And I know the NDC will perform. NDC has always performed. It's the same lies that goes about. They lie to the people, and sometimes there are different school of thought that says that in the past the NDC communicators has not been able to stand on the rooftop and shout out their policies and move Ghanaians with it. And I agree. Sometimes if you are moving in a direction, you are on a different wavelength, and you are not able to capture the country to move with you, you might be up there, they might be here. When they lie to, yes, they will take the lies, they will accept the lies. And that was what happened. The NDC and John Dramani Mahama, they were way up there with their thinking and the processes and the policies. Ghanaians were here. Today we've seen the benefit of all these fiber optics. When they came to power, they should tell us how many kilometers of fiber optics have they been even able to upgrade it. The last time we were told by Eslowuzu that 5G will be here, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen 5G yet?
You see this month. They'll be doing an announcement later this month.
Okay. So we're waiting. But as we speak, many Ghanaians, when 5G will be here, we should have seen the infrastructures, the engineers on the street. As we speak, we should have seen something happening. When 5G was being rolled out in United Kingdom, we saw the action. You can't see anything there.
When 5G was being rolled out in the UK, what happened?
Because you see the engineers everywhere. You see engineers everywhere on the street, because the cabling is done in UK is done through the ground. It's all on pavement, so you see the pavement being removed. New cables are going in. These are 5G cables. You will see information and notices, so you know 5G is coming into your area. There's nothing of that sort. It's the same cock and the horse story. That one will be here, it doesn't happen. This one will be here, it doesn't happen. It's the same old story. We've heard it for 8 years. 5G is good for businesses. It's great. But to me, if you can't fix your traffic lights, you can't fix your street lights, the capital, which embraces the tourist, you're thinking of 5G. They've got their priorities wrong. They've got their priorities wrong. The last time I did mention something. We should not run when we have not even learned to walk. Let's go through the toddler on certain steps. Let's begin to walk perfectly. Let's begin to jog. And then when it comes to we perfect it, we can then run. But it seems sometimes we want to run without even learned how to walk. What does government?
To you, what would have been the best way to prioritize? What do you think should be at the forefront of the agenda?
What is on the forefront of, or what should be on the forefront of the agenda is what is in the NDC manifesto. Let's get the basics right. The basics of, you see how the buffers were set, how the economic growth was, how we added certain things, we made sure that Atwabo gas to cut down certain expenditure of gas import. This is what you're doing. You're cutting away the waste. Once you cut away the waste, then you begin to use that money, push them into a very good areas. Let that money work for you. Build on your agriculture, which is in our manifesto. Make sure your agriculture base is strong. Make sure your export, the agriculture, become the backbone of your export, because around the world, everybody eats, everybody enjoy fruits. Look, my clients that I came with, one thing that they've enjoyed is the Ghana mango smoothies. They've loved the mango smoothies to bed. Why? Because they don't get that. So imagine just our mangoes alone going out to the world, how people will embrace it. People will buy for smoothies, other shops will keep it. Let's build that backbone. Once that backbone is solid, now let's begin to add value to the products that is coming from Ghana and exporting them. Let's ensure that our export actually outweighs our imports, and then bringing in these farmers, cooperative, making sure that we set this cooperative, we help them with equipment finance. Let's move farming from the normal mechanical farming, the traditional farming to mechanical farming. Let's modernize it. So once you get these bases right, you get the foundations right, then you begin to think about the other big things. But if the foundations are not right, it doesn't matter what you try and do. It doesn't work. As a country, it seems we've lost our identity. Every country has their own economic identity. And I'm not sure people have sat down and realized this. Every country has their own economic identity. You go to Great Britain, they started their industrialization using the Midlands and the North, where we used to have the Bedford in Midlands. They had the Albion up in West Bromwich Albion, those Midlands area. Then, if you could remember, Leyland was coming from Britain as well, from the north. You know, so they laid out, went through their industrialization, and during their industrialization, they made sure that every single part of the world could not only see British, but also feel British. And then they moved that economy from the industrialization into a service economy, where they thought, look, we've polluted the world enough, we've made our money out of it. Now what do? Let's move into service. That is where they start setting up solid international insurance companies, banking system. That is why today you could do certain transactions, and almost every transaction that you will do will go through their banks. They will get commission out of it. When the Russia and Ukraine war started, the insurance company that suffered massively was a British company. Because when Russia decided to take all those airlines that they are rented from companies, Boeing and Airbus, all these airlines were insured by British companies.
Okay.
So you could see these things are operating around the world. That the British were making money out of it. So when Russia decided we're not going to pay for all these airlines anymore and we won't give it back, we're keeping all of them. Anybody listening to me can go and check. It was the British companies that suffered massively. But they're still okay because they're doing this business somewhere. That is their identity. Service sector. You go to America, same thing. You go to places like Kenya. You could look. We see the Kenyan flowers on the streets of London. They are building something. Let's ask this government or this country, what is our economic identity? What are we doing? We used to have one, the cocoa. Everywhere Ghana used to be mentioned, the cocoa. It was fabulous, but we should have leverage on that. We couldn't. So we don't have economic identity. We need to find one, and let's work at it. Let's build it. And the only one that I can see that I think, look, is viable, is workable, is laudable, is what is in our manifesto.
What specifically would that identity be?
Is using our agriculture and agro-processing to ensure that Ghana agriculture is seen, tasted, and felt anywhere around the globe.
What we produce.
What we produce. If we are able to get a backbone, today somebody could go to those who are into coffee and those who are in tea. They will walk to a British shop and then they will ask for a specific coffee or specific tea. Either it's Indian or Kenyan or, you see, why? Because they've tasted it for years and this is what they want. So the market is there for it. And this is what we need to know. Once the market is out there in the world, then the demand will always be there for us. Our farmers will then leverage on that. The government will earn money from that. That is what we need to do. But if we seem to be doing what amateur business people do, you touch this and you leave it, or you touch that, it's try and error, let's try that. It doesn't work or it's working. Okay, what about let's go and try this? That is what we're doing. So we are all over the place. We are not consistent. But if we stick to the basics and begin to build our basis and make sure we are consistent with it, I think we'll be good. I think we'll be good.
So if we choose cocoa, we should not only grow the cocoa. We should. You're saying that we should build a whole industry around it.
We should build a whole industry around it. We should add value to it, and like our cashew nut, our flag bearer have said it several times, make sure we add the value to it, build industry around it, make sure that it's sustainable. Let's keep pushing it. It's like how Commander Factory was set. If we have been, or if the NPP had taken advantage of it and then produced that sugar for home consumption, then thereafter we begin to look for export. Let's do it. Let's add value. Let's make sure that it becomes, even we can begin to produce premium sugar out of them. So people will begin to have that taste. They'll begin to like that product. That somebody will walk into the shop and they're looking for, the premium Ghanaian sugar, that kind of thing. It's not there. We've lost it. And this manifesto, the NDC manifesto, spells out these things. And that is why personally I like it, because I can see, look, on the hierarchy of food, clothing, and shelter, which is the basics necessity, you get food first. We have the land. If somebody hasn't eaten, they're not thinking of shelter. If they haven't eaten, they're not even thinking of going to the shelter to go and buy a fancy clothes. We have the land. What are we waiting for? And it's the only manifesto that spells out this. In addition to that, we are not saying that we should not embrace the modern system that has come in, the digitalization, the training of IT, men into IT and what have you. So it's right there as well. As we are building on this, we also have to take advantage of the new world that is happening. So I think overall, if I look through the entire, if you put all the manifestos out there, I would say let's embrace the NDC manifesto. Let's go with John Dramani Mahama and the NDC's idea. And to me, if we are able to do this consistent 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, Ghana will be good.
Then don't you think then the President Akufo-Addo has something to be proud of? They did one district, one factory, one village, one dam, plenty for food and jobs, targeted at agric, ensuring an agro-processing base, among others. That's something that they can say that they got right,
Sana,
based on your analysis.
Sana, you are setting Akufo-Addo up to be ridiculed this morning by many of your listeners.
Why?
One district, one factory. These are, look, that is, to me, is great. It works as slogan on the ground. Did they work?
It was a great slogan.
Yes, it was a good slogan. It was gimmick. Did they really work? If it did, let's ask ourselves, what did we get as a country out of it? I haven't seen any. Planting for food and job. We were here where we have to look at the data, the tomato that we have to import from Burkina Faso each year. Burkina Faso is a grassland. Look at the data on other things. We were here when the finance minister, current finance minister, told us, yes, he came and told us that there's famine or there's going to be famine and they have to import.
Okay.
So did the planting for food and job work? Because if you are planting, your first target is your home consumption to make sure that your people are fed. And when your people are fed, they can have enough. Then you begin to think of what will go outside.
Okay.
So these policies haven't worked. They've only been lovely slogans that they've thrown about, and they've put so much money in it, and that money is disappeared. So to me, there's nothing to be proud of. There's nothing to be proud of.
None of those policies have achieved anything for you?
No, nothing. Nothing to be proud of. I'm not going to give them anything. Nothing.
Nothing at all?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. They spoke about SkyTrain. Where is our SkyTrain today? The money rather went and into it, money disappeared. We were here when we were told, the Tema to Accra has been the contract has been awarded to a Portuguese company to make sure that motorway is done to the modern motorway. What happened? The contract later on was collapsed, money missing again. Tema to Mpakadan, this is a railway that was already in progress. John Dramani Mahama and the NDC secure the funds. The idea is to help and also help with the import on the other side when you get to Akosombo to get the goods across to the the Bankra inland port. So it was Tema to Mpakadan was a part that will feed this Bankra inland port. What happened? Didn't work.
I see. Well, I need to take a break. I have one last break to take. When I come back, we'll conclude our conversation with Fiifi Mparey. He is from the NDC UK Ireland chapter.